real thing. Let's see, chapter 4 here. Simon was the brother, well, he was an informer, and then he had Jason was Onias' brother, usurped the high priesthood. A lot of trouble here. The end of chapter 4, 30 to 38, the murder of Onias in Antioch. Antioch is where the Pauline Christians get their start, supposedly. It's the capital of the Seleucid Empire. Line 37. On the 36, 37, on the king's return from Sardicia, the Jews of the capital and those Greeks who shared their hatred of the crime appealed to him about the murder of Onias. He was put to death in defiance of all justice, says line 35. So Menelaus and Jason vie with each other for the high priesthood. And it's at that point in chapter 5:11 that Antiochus Epiphanes finally is introduced. And he plunders the temple. And these Menelaus, and he's called a traitor to the law, 916, to some extent is involved in bringing him in to inspect the treasury. And of course he made off in line 21 with 1,800 talents of gold. Mount Gerizim is the, line 23, is the Samaritan sanctuary, and he's rifling that too. Line 27, chapter 5, picks up where Maccabees 1 basically started to develop into. Judas, called Maccabeus, with 9 others, withdrew into the wilderness and lived like wild animals in the hills with his companions, eating nothing but wild plants to avoid contracting defilement. What is that? Huh?
And to avoid breaking the laws.
Lots of things here. First of all, the 10 just men. For the sake of 10 just men, God will withhold destruction from the earth. 10 righteous ones, 10 tzaddikim. It's in the book of Genesis, the second tzaddik episode. The first tzaddik episode is Noah the righteous. Noah the righteous is mentioned as Noah the righteous in Ecclesiasticus. That's what he's called. All this is in my Maccabees Zadokites book. I want to read it in more detail. In Genesis, Lot is down in Sodom and Gomorrah, down in the plain, and Abraham is up on the hillside, and the angels come and visit Abraham. And they say they're going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. And Abraham pleads with, turns out it's God he's talking to, God and 3 men, 3 wise men, if you want to call the Matthew story. And he bargains with him like a person in a marketplace. He said, you know, God, don't destroy that town. Suppose there are 50 righteous men, 50 just men, 50 tzaddikim. By the way, just comes from the Latin, justice, J-U-S-T-U-S. The Greek is dikaios, and the Hebrew is tzaddik. So just, when we say James the Just, it's the Latin. In any case, for the sake of 50 just men, will you withhold destruction? And God says, yeah, okay, 50 just men. And Abraham says, oh, come, Lord, you know, suppose there are only 40 just men. Okay, 40. God, come on now, come on. What about there are only 20? He says, okay, 20. Oh, suppose there are only 10. He said, okay, for the sake of 10 just men, I will withhold destruction from the city. And that's turned into a Jewish kind of legend, the legend of the 10 just men, for whose sake God will withhold destruction from the earth. The 10 tzaddikim, and that's what we have here, I think. Judas with 9 others withdrew into the wilderness. And what do we have here? The first wilderness exodus episode. This is a prelude to John the Baptist. Judas is a forerunner of John the Baptist, but he's not. That's why you have to get out of your head the peaceful idea of John the Baptist. You have to see him more in this tradition. Why is Judas withdrawing into the wilderness? Because the world is polluted and corrupt, just like John, if you want to say, in the New Testament. But the other thing is, the only difference between the New Testament and this is that the Pax Romanum has been introduced into the New Testament. Now, you can say that's authentic and Jesus, or you can say that was introduced by the Pax Romanum supporters. You know where I stand on that. I don't want to go into it. Don't go there, Diane, as Mel Gibson said to Diane Sawyer in the episode about his father being a Holocaust denier. Don't go there, Eisenman. I want to go into whether the Pax Romanum was introduced into the material or not. Don't forget, Augustus built a temple of peace in the center of Rome, and we've recently uncovered and archaeologically, discovered again, really impressive temple monument right in the center of Rome. Okay, so they lived like wild animals, like John did, in the hills with his companions. They are before John. Now that's why I say Maccabees 2 is sometimes more detailed than Maccabees 1. Maccabees 1 does not bother with this kind of information. Do I believe it? Yeah, I believe it. I don't see anything wrong with it. Why are they eating only wild plants to avoid contracting impurity, pollution, defilement? Because the whole thing has been taken over by this pagan sort of situation. A statue of the Olympian Zeus has been constructed in the temple precincts. The temple sacrifice has been ended. The righteous sacrifice, starting with who? Noah the righteous. How come all the animals on the ark weren't destroyed? Well, okay, they weren't eating, they were somehow not eating each other. I don't know, it's a whole big sort of nice children's mythological tale which captivates all humanity up till the present day because it's such an attractive story. But the point is that after, they were not eating meat at that time. They were not permitted to eat meat even during the ark journey or whatever. After the ark was on dry land and had all the animals in there, Noah offered a sacrifice to propitiate God. And at that time, he was allowed